I spent 28 years being the problem in my marriage, adjusting myself smaller and smaller to fit the space she left for me, until my cardiologist said the word stress 14 times, and I realized the woman I'd given everything to would notice my body if it was blocking her closet. My name's Raymond Cole. I'm 54 years old. And 6 months ago, I did something most men my age only fantasize about during their morning commute. I divorced my wife of 28 years, liquidated everything I could carry in 2 suitcases, and moved to Lisbon, Portugal. No dramatic confrontation, no shouting match in the driveway, just divorce papers under a coffee mug, my house keys on top, and a note that read, "Everything's yours. I'm gone." I was a commercial real estate developer back in Denver. Built strip malls, office complexes, the kind of structures that make cities look the same from coast to coast. Good money, respect in the community, a beautiful house in Cherry Creek that my wife Catherine decorated like a magazine spread. From the outside, we looked perfect. From the inside, I was suffocating. Catherine worked as a luxury real estate agent. She sold multi-million-dollar properties to tech executives and oil money. And somewhere along the way, she started believing our life should match the lifestyle she was peddling. Nothing was ever enough. The granite countertops had to be replaced with marble. The marble had to be Italian. The Italian marble had to be from a specific quarry in Carrara that only 3 people in Colorado knew about. I stopped arguing around year 23. Started sleeping in my office around year 26. By year 28, I realized I was living with a stranger who happened to share my last name and my mortgage. We had 2 kids. Olivia is 27 now, works as an investigative journalist in Chicago. Sharp as a tack, inherited my skepticism and her mother's persistence. She saw through Catherine's act years before I found the courage to leave. Then there's Jason, 24, junior investment banker in New York. Smart kid, but he bought into his mother's version of reality. Thought I was the problem. Cold, distant, emotionally unavailable. All Catherine's words coming out of his mouth. The heart attack came 3 months before I left. Minor one, the kind that doesn't kill you but whispers in your ear that the next one might. My cardiologist said the word stress 14 times in one appointment. I drove home that day, looked at Catherine screaming into her phone about staging a property, and realized something. I could die in this house and she wouldn't notice until someone pointed out my body was blocking her walk-in closet. So I started planning quietly, methodically, the way you plan anything important. I spent 6 months restructuring everything. My assets went into a family trust with Olivia as trustee. The properties got refinanced, layered with loans Catherine never knew existed. I made sure everything looked legitimate on paper because it was legitimate, just strategically arranged. The house, the cars, the furniture, all hers, along with the debt securing it all. The morning I left, Denver was still dark. I drove myself to the airport, parked in long term, and didn't look back. By the time Catherine woke up and found my note, I was somewhere over the Atlantic, drinking terrible airplane coffee, and feeling something I hadn't felt in years: peace. Now I wake up to church bells in Alfama, drink espresso that actually tastes like something, and walk along the Tagus River watching ships that are going somewhere. I paint badly. I swim in the ocean. I've learned enough Portuguese to order wine and apologize for my terrible Portuguese. I hadn't spoken to Catherine since I left. Didn't check her social media. Didn't ask mutual friends. I already knew how it would play. She'd grieve for a week, rage for 2, then find someone new to fill the void. And I was right. Life in Lisbon had a rhythm I'd forgotten existed. No alarms, no conference calls, no Catherine's voice cutting through the morning asking why I chose the wrong brand of organic coffee. Just me, the Atlantic breeze, and a city that had survived earthquakes and still knew how to take a breath. I'd been there 4 months when a message came through. I was at my usual spot, a small cafe in Bairro Alto, where the owner, Manuel, had stopped trying to correct my pronunciation and just smiled when I ordered. I was sketching the roofline across the street when my phone buzzed. Instagram DM from Danny Riker, a guy I knew back in college. We'd lost touch around the Clinton administration. His message was short: "Hey Raymond, long time. Not sure if you care, but thought you should know. Catherine's getting married. Next month, vineyard wedding up in Napa. Guy named Kenneth Bradshaw. Owns a bunch of car dealerships. Figured you'd want a heads up." I read it twice. Set my phone down. Picked up my espresso. The cup was warm against my palm, solid, real. I wasn't angry. I wasn't hurt. I was curious. The way you're curious about a movie you walked out of halfway through. Kenneth Bradshaw. I knew the name. Flashy guy. Always showed up at real estate industry events in expensive suits that were trying too hard. Drove a different luxury car every quarter like he was running a personal showroom. He'd flirted with Catherine at a charity gala 3 years ago. I remembered because she'd laughed too loud at his jokes. The kind of laugh that's meant to be noticed. I opened my laptop. Her Instagram was public, of course. Catherine lived for visibility. The feed was exactly what I expected. Engagement photos that looked like they cost 5 figures. Her in white, him in navy, both holding champagne flutes against a sunset that was definitely photoshopped. Captions like "when you know," and "finally found my forever." I scrolled through the comments. Friends congratulating her, clients kissing up, a few brave souls asking variations of what happened to Raymond. Those comments had been deleted, but the gaps in the numbering gave them away. Then I saw the location, 7 Hills Vineyard, Napa Valley, California. Something clicked in my brain, cold and precise. I closed Instagram and opened my files. Took me 10 minutes to find it. Buried in a folder labeled Old Projects. A brochure from 15 years ago. Catherine and I had driven up there one weekend back when we still did weekends together. She'd hated it. Said it was too quiet, too rustic. I flipped through the PDF until I found the page I remembered. Section on event hosting, technical specifications. And there, in small print under acoustic engineering notes, outdoor venues may experience significant echo. Professional sound systems recommended for speeches and toasts. The wedding was in 3 weeks. Catherine was marrying Kenneth Bradshaw at a venue with acoustics that could carry a whisper across 100 yards. And she just made it public knowledge, complete with venue details and a hashtag. I pulled up my contacts, found a number I hadn't used in years. Richard Pelletier used to run a high-end catering company in San Francisco before he retired. I'd helped him restructure a deal that saved his business back in 2015. He told me if I ever needed anything, call. I called. He picked up on the 3rd ring, his voice warm and surprised. We caught up for 5 minutes. Then I explained what I needed. Not much, just a small favor, a name added to a vendor list. 1 guest, clean background, legitimate reason to be there. Richard was quiet for a moment, then he laughed, low and understanding. "You know what, Raymond? I think I can help you with that. Consider it done." I thanked him, hung up, finished my coffee. The sun was setting over the Tagus, painting everything gold and orange. I wasn't going to the wedding. I didn't need to. But I was going to make sure it was memorable. Olivia called me 2 days later. It was early morning in Lisbon, which meant late evening in Chicago. She never called without reason. "Dad," she said when I picked up. "I saw Mom's Instagram. The wedding. Kenneth Bradshaw. You know about this?" "I know." "And? Are you okay?" "I'm fine, sweetheart. Better than fine. Your mother's choices aren't my concern anymore." Silence on the other end. Then, "Jason's going. He's standing up as one of the groomsmen. Kenneth asked him personally. Mom played it up as this big honor. Blending families, new beginnings. Jason bought it completely. That stopped me. And you?" "I got an invitation. Very formal, very Catherine. I sent my regrets." She paused. "Dad, I've been doing some digging. Kenneth Bradshaw's dealerships. Something's not right. His financial disclosures are clean, but the pattern's wrong. He opened 3 new locations in 18 months. That requires serious capital. His credit lines are maxed. I think he's been using new investor money to pay old debts. Classic pyramid structure." This is why Olivia was the best investigative journalist in Chicago. She saw patterns where others saw noise. "How long until it collapses?" I asked. 3 months, maybe 4. There's a lawsuit brewing too. Former business partner claiming fraud. It's being kept quiet, but I found the court filings. "Does your mother know?" "Of course not. She sees the cars, the properties, the lifestyle. She never looks under the hood." Olivia's voice turned harder. "Dad, Jason's tied to this. If Kenneth goes down publicly, it'll splash on everyone associated with him. Jason's bank won't appreciate their junior analyst being connected to a fraud case." "What are you thinking?" "I'm thinking," she said slowly, "that someone should make sure the right information surfaces at the right time. Before Jason gets in deeper." I smiled. My daughter, already thinking 3 moves ahead. "I'm flying out to Napa," she said. "I told Mom I changed my mind, that I want to support her new beginning." Olivia. "Dad, Jason's my brother. He's being an idiot, but he's my idiot. If this wedding's going to be memorable, I want to make sure he sees what's really happening before it's too late." "Be careful." "Always am." I could hear the smile in her voice. "Oh, and Dad, that favor you called in with Richard Pelletier, the caterer. Clark Witherby +1. Very subtle. I like it. Old school, elegant." "I have no idea what you're talking about." "Sure you don't. Love you, Dad." After she hung up, I sat on my balcony for a long time. The musician below started playing something melancholy. And somewhere in Napa Valley, a man named Clark Witherby was about to become the most important guest no one remembered inviting. Jason called 3 days before the wedding. We hadn't spoken since I left. He'd sent one email, short and cold, saying he was disappointed in how I'd handled things. Dad. His voice was stiff, formal. The voice he probably used with clients. Jason. Silence stretched between us like a canyon. I'm calling because I think you should know. I'm standing up at Mom's wedding. Kenneth asked me personally. Olivia mentioned that. Kenneth's a good guy, Dad, successful. Treats Mom right. He's everything she deserves. Everything she deserves. Everything I wasn't. I bit down on my first response. I'm glad your mother's happy, I said. Are you? Because it seems like you just bailed. Walked away from everything. From us. I walked away from a marriage that was killing me, Jason. Not from you or your sister. Could have fooled me. You left a note on the counter like you were quitting a job. Your mother and I were together for 28 years. 23 of those years I was trying to be enough. Trying to meet standards that changed every time I got close. I had a heart attack, Jason. The doctor told me stress was going to finish what genetics started. So I made a choice. By running away. By saving my own life. My voice was harder now. And if you think that's weakness, then your mother taught you well. He was quiet. Jason, I said, softer now. I know Kenneth. Not well, but enough. Just promise me something. When you're standing up there watching your mother get married, pay attention. Not to what people say. To what they don't say. What's that supposed to mean? It means the best investors ask questions. They verify. They look at fundamentals, not just performance. I paused. You're good at that. Don't stop doing it just because it's family. I don't need career advice, Dad. I'm not talking about your career. I'm talking about your judgment. Kenneth Bradshaw's built something impressive. Very impressive. Ask yourself how he did it. Ask yourself if the math adds up. You're trying to poison this. I'm trying to protect you. There's a difference. From what? From being collateral damage when performance doesn't match reality. Goodbye, Dad. The line went dead. The rehearsal dinner happened without me, but Olivia sent updates. Short texts, clinical observations, arrived. Catherine looks nervous. Kenneth's overcompensating. Jason's toast was about new beginnings. Didn't mention you once. Clark Witherby just introduced himself to Kenneth. Said he's an old family friend. Kenneth bought it. Olivia called an hour later. I could hear background noise, music and conversation bleeding through. He's perfect, Dad, she said quietly. Clark, I mean. Mid-70s, looks like somebody's grandfather. He's got this whole story about knowing Catherine's family from back east. Complete fiction, but he sells it beautifully. I don't know anyone named Clark Witherby, I said carefully. She laughed. Right, of course not. Kenneth introduced him to Catherine. She looked confused for about 3 seconds, then just smiled and played along. You know how she is. Never admits she doesn't know something. How's your brother? The pause told me everything. He's all in, Dad. He gave his toast about how Kenneth represents everything a real man should be. Successful, confident, committed. The subtext wasn't subtle. What about Clark? What's his role in all this? He's giving a toast tomorrow. During the reception. He specifically requested a spot, said something about honoring old friendships. The wedding planner ate it up. Catherine approved it without asking questions. Kenneth thinks it's a nice gesture. Traditional, classy. He has no idea what's coming. The wedding was beautiful. Olivia sent photos. Catherine in an ivory gown that probably cost more than my first car. Kenneth in a custom tuxedo looking like he'd stepped out of a luxury car commercial. The vineyard draped in white fabric and flowers. Everything perfect, everything staged. The ceremony went smoothly. Vows that sounded like they'd been written by a greeting card company. Jason stood beside Kenneth, smiling like this was exactly how life should look. Then came the reception. My phone rang. Dad. Olivia's voice was tight, urgent. You need to hear this. I'm recording. She must have held her phone up because suddenly I could hear the reception. Jason's voice came through clearly, amplified by the venue's excellent acoustics. Kenneth Bradshaw is the kind of man we should all aspire to be. He's built an empire through hard work and vision. He treats my mother like a queen. He showed me what real success looks like. To Kenneth and Catherine, may your future be as bright as your past is forgotten. As your past is forgotten. The jab was clear. I was the past. The failure. Applause. Clinking glasses. Then Olivia's voice came back. Clark's up now. Here we go. The crowd noise settled. I heard someone clearing their throat. Then a voice, older, measured, carrying the kind of authority that makes people listen. Good evening, everyone. My name is Clark Witherby and I've known the Bradshaw family for many years. I wanted to take a moment to celebrate this union, but also to speak about something important: truth. The reception went quieter. Catherine, you look absolutely radiant. Kenneth, you've clearly made quite an impression. He paused. I've been in business a long time, seen a lot of deals, a lot of partnerships. And the ones that last are built on solid foundations. Not appearances. Not promises, foundations. Another pause, longer this time. So I want to propose a toast to Catherine and her second chance at happiness. And to Raymond, wherever he is tonight. Probably somewhere quiet. Probably painting. Probably finally able to breathe. His voice carried across the vineyard like it was designed to. Catherine, I hope you're sure you traded up, darling. Because from where I'm standing, it looks like you might have traded solid ground for quicksand. Dead silence. The kind that makes oxygen feel thick. But hey, Clark continued, voice lighter now. What do I know? I'm just an old man who believes in asking questions. Like, how does someone open 3 dealerships in 18 months without traditional financing? Or why does a successful businessman need to restructure his credit lines every quarter? Or what happens when the music stops and everyone's looking for a chair? I could hear movement now, confusion, someone trying to get to the microphone. Anyway, Clark said, wrapping up smoothly. To the happy couple. May your forever be louder than your past, and may you both get exactly what you deserve. Then the line went chaotic. Voices overlapping. Music starting up suddenly, too loud, trying to cover the disaster. Olivia came back on, breathless. Dad, holy hell. Catherine just ran out. Kenneth's face is purple. Jason looks like he's been hit with a truck. Half the room is on their phones. The other half is pretending nothing happened. She paused. Oh my God. She's calling someone. Dad, I think she's calling you. My phone buzzed. Catherine's name lit up the screen. You had someone crash my wedding. Her voice was shaking with rage. You set this up. You planted that man. I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm in Portugal. Don't lie to me. That speech, those questions. That was you. Was it? Or was it just someone asking questions that should have been asked months ago? She was breathing hard. You're a coward, Raymond. You always were. Couldn't face me yourself, so you sent some hired gun to ruin my day? Your day isn't ruined because of me, Catherine. It's ruined because you built it on sand and called it bedrock. I hate you. I know. But that's not my problem anymore. I kept my voice calm. Go back to your wedding. Smile for the cameras. Do what you do best, perform. The line went dead. I set my phone down, looked out over Lisbon. The city lights reflected on the river like stars that had fallen and decided to stay. The video hit the internet within hours. Someone at the wedding had recorded Clark's entire toast and uploaded it to TikTok. By morning, it had 500,000 views. By evening, over 3 million. The caption read, "Savage wedding toast destroys bride. Wait for the ending." The comment section was merciless. Someone created a compilation video. Catherine's face frozen at the exact moment Clark said traded up, zoomed in, slowed down, her smile collapsing. It became a meme within 24 hours. Catherine's wedding face showed up on Reddit, Twitter, Instagram. People used it to illustrate regret, bad decisions, instant karma. Olivia sent me links. Dad, this is everywhere. Mom's name is trending. Her real estate firm's getting calls. Clients are asking questions. Then Jason called. His voice was different, smaller. Dad. We need to talk. I'm listening. Kenneth's dealerships are being audited. The lawsuit Clark mentioned, it was filed yesterday. Former business partner claiming Kenneth used investor money to cover personal debt. The banks are freezing his assets. He paused. My firm called me in. Asked about my relationship with Kenneth. They're putting me on administrative leave, pending investigation. They said my judgment is compromised. I'm sorry, son. Are you? Because you knew. You knew this was coming and you let me walk into it anyway. I warned you. Told you to look at the fundamentals. You called it sabotage. You could have told me the truth directly instead of playing games with planted guests and cryptic warnings. Would you have listened? If I'd called and said Kenneth Bradshaw is a fraud, would you have believed me? Or would you have defended your mother and called me bitter? Silence, long and heavy. I don't know, he finally said. Maybe you're right. Maybe I wouldn't have listened. Olivia's been helping me, Jason said quietly. She pulled all the public records. Showed me everything. The lawsuits, the foreclosures, the pattern of fraud going back 3 years. It was all there. I just didn't want to see it. Your mother has that effect on people. She makes you want to believe her version of reality. She's not talking to me. I tried to call her. Asked if she knew about Kenneth's problems. She said I was betraying her. That I was choosing your side. Then she hung up. The video's everywhere, Dad. Everyone's seen it. People at work, friends. They're all asking if that's my mom. I was the groomsman praising Kenneth. That's in the video too. Me calling him my model of success. It'll pass. The internet moves fast. Will it? Because my career might not survive this. My judgment is publicly documented as terrible. We talked for another 20 minutes. He asked about Lisbon, about my painting, about whether I was happy. I told him the truth. That I was. He was quiet. Then, Dad, I was wrong. About you. About why you left. I thought you were weak. But you weren't. You just saw what I couldn't. And you got out before it destroyed you. It almost did destroy me. I had a heart attack, Jason. Your mother's chaos was killing me slowly. I left to survive. I get it now. I'm sorry I didn't before. When we hung up, I stood on my balcony watching fishing boats return to harbor. My son had called me Dad again, had apologized, had seen through his mother's performance. Kenneth Bradshaw's dealerships filed for bankruptcy 3 weeks after the wedding. Investor fraud, embezzlement, creative accounting that made Enron look amateur. Catherine's name was in every article. Wife of disgraced businessman Kenneth Bradshaw. Her firm quietly asked her to take a leave of absence. Olivia sent me the court documents. The house Catherine and Kenneth had bought together, 3 mortgages deep. The cars, leased at rates that suggested desperation. Everything Catherine thought she'd gained by marrying Kenneth disappeared faster than it had appeared. Dad, you need to hear this, Olivia said. Mom's being sued. Kenneth's creditors found out she received gifts during their brief marriage. They're claiming she knew about the fraud. They're asking for $280,000 plus legal fees. Does she have it? No. Remember all those refinances you did before leaving? The house is worth less than what's owed. She can't sell it without taking a loss. She can't borrow against it. She's trapped. What about Kenneth? Disappeared. His lawyers can't find him. Brazil, maybe. Costa Rica, Olivia laughed, sharp and short. Mom married him 6 months ago. Now she's alone with his debts and a viral video that plays every time someone Googles her name. Has she asked you for help? She called Jason first. He told her he's dealing with his own career crisis. Then she called me. I said no. She said I was heartless. That family helps family. I told her she raised me to verify facts before making decisions. And that she should have verified Kenneth. Jason's firm took him off administrative leave after 2 weeks. They determined he had no actual knowledge of Kenneth's fraud. But his reputation took a hit. It would take years to rebuild trust. The viral video was being used in business schools now. A case study in due diligence failures. Catherine's wedding was literally being taught as an example of what happens when you prioritize image over substance. 3 months later, Jason called with news. He'd been promoted. His firm recognized his rebuilt judgment, his careful approach, his willingness to ask hard questions. They said I'm the most thorough analyst they have now. Because I verify everything. Trust nothing at face value. I'm proud of you, son. I learned from you. The hard way. But I learned. Catherine eventually filed for bankruptcy. Her parents helped her relocate to Arizona. I heard she was working retail, selling furniture. A long way from luxury real estate. I didn't feel triumphant. Just sad for wasted years. For the woman who could have been a partner but chose to be a performer instead. Kenneth Bradshaw was sentenced to 12 years in federal prison. 14 months after I left Catherine, I met someone. Her name was Isabel. 50 years old, Portuguese, owned a small bookshop near Alfama. We met when I wandered in looking for English novels and she recommended Portuguese poetry instead. You live here now, she said in accented but perfect English. You should understand the language of this place. We started having coffee, then dinners, then long walks through neighborhoods she'd known her whole life. She knew nothing about my past. Didn't Google me. Didn't ask probing questions. Just accepted who I was in the present. You seem like someone who's been through something difficult, she said once. But you came out on the other side. That's what matters. Isabel was widowed. Her husband had died 5 years earlier. She understood loss and rebuilding. We compared notes like architects discussing foundations. The second time you build something, she said, you build it better. Because you know what actually holds weight. Jason met her when he visited. They talked about books for 2 hours. At dinner that night, he pulled me aside. She's wonderful, Dad. Completely different from Mom. She actually listens when you talk. Are you happy? He asked. I thought about it. The question I'd stopped asking myself years ago. Yes. Really, genuinely happy. Good. You deserve that. Olivia came 2 weeks later. She and Isabel bonded immediately over their shared directness. No performance, no pretense. She's a keeper, Olivia told me. Don't screw it up. You've got something real here. Something Mom never gave you. Partnership. Actual partnership. One evening, Isabel and I were sitting on my balcony. The sun was setting over the Tagus, painting everything in shades of amber and rose. She was reading Portuguese poetry aloud, translating passages for me. I was sketching her profile. You know what I love about you? She said suddenly. Tell me. You're present. Completely present. Not performing. Not planning 3 steps ahead. Just here. Took me 54 years to learn that. Better late than never. Jason called months later with news. He'd been dating someone. Her name was Amy. A teacher. Nothing glamorous. Nothing flashy. Just real. When I told her about the wedding disaster, about my mom, about everything, she didn't judge. She just asked if I learned from it. Smart woman. She is. He paused. Dad, Amy said yes. We're engaged. Can we have the wedding in Lisbon? Small, real. Just people who matter. You and Isabel could help plan it. I showed Isabel the message. She smiled, eyes bright. Tell him yes. Tell him we'd be honored. I typed back, congratulations, son. Lisbon sounds perfect. We'll make it beautiful. The right kind of beautiful. His response came immediately. Thanks, Dad. For everything. For showing me what real strength looks like. I love you. I set my phone down, looked at Isabel, at the river, at the city I'd chosen to call home. This is good, I said. Yes, Isabel agreed. This is very good. And for the first time in longer than I could remember, I wasn't waiting for the other shoe to drop. Wasn't planning an exit. Wasn't bracing for chaos. I was just living, fully, honestly. On solid ground.